Ndinoda kuti nyika isiwe vanhu vangu inguva yedu hatingatadzi kubudirira Mwari ari parutivi pedu rambai muchirwa My hitters gon' die, don't die The real hitters gon' shine And my people gon' rise Cause we're born to it, yeah I ain't saying what I'm saying
Loyalty's my favorite characteristic of God, but finding it in him is hard. It's like trying to find God. You're the only one in your camp with cheese. You pay for everything they eat. Man, that insecurity is deep. Now I ain't said no names. These are just theories. If you hear me, baby, it's home. You must admit it's kinda eerie, baby. Like them chemtrails in the sky. Hate to selling the slaves, kinda like the combines. We say everything in moderation, but don't do it in moderation. The lies of a gluttonous generation. 10-year-old girl.
Welcome, everybody, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. And, we're starting the show with some news here that is just disheartening for so many in the community. And, of course, that is about the heinous killing and murder of Devon Pickett last night. Such a main pillar in our community. Converge and the Devon and Kiana Pickett family, we go back. We have known about their brilliance for a very long time and always wanted to shine a light on it here on Converge Media. And I want to start this show today sending love to their family. But we went into the archives a bit to showcase, Devon as he was in our very first studio and hear from him, why starting the Postman was so important.
So the Postman, we created in loving memory of my great-grandfather, Jacques Chappelle. He lived to be 98 years old. He passed away the year we opened, prior to us opening, but he passed away. Was struggling from dementia, but we thought it would be really nice for us to open this store in loving memory of him. Two, because one is because he was a postman for 37 years in the Central District, already had like that story going for him. And then two, it was something that we really wanted to create legacy and just build on legacy, because my grandfather raised 5 generations off of 35th and Olive in the CD, so including me, my mom, my grandma, and so on and so forth. So it was one of those things where it was very important to create something that was going to last and be a staple in the CD, something that was commendable on all playing fields, from the street people all the way up to like corporate. Just being able to be like, that's a real solid move, and to this point it's been very successful.
Wow. Again, sending so much love to you, Kiana, to the entire family, to his kids, to the whole CD Panther family. He was a main coach there. I know my son was feeling it yesterday. We had a discussion about his interactions with him. He's like, oh, man, that's one of my coaches, Mom. I said, I know. So this is something that I know has rippling effects for so many in community, as, he was born and raised in the Central District right here. So many people know him and his family. And from me right here on The Day with Trae to all of you out there that knew Devon, that experienced his brightness in community, his dedication to the next generations, his dedication to the Postman, creating jobs for folks here. I just send a huge, huge light and love to all of you. Just know that we are here with you, and anything you need, please make sure you email me, trae@whereweconverge.com. I'm here for you guys. I know the whole Converge family is here for you all. Of course, you guys, we definitely have a show for you today as well. Joining me is Saghar Amini. She's going to be telling us about the protest movement that's going on in Iran. It is always some things that are hitting us here at home. So I'm so glad that she was able to join us today so we can hear more about some of the details and how activism and community organizing is working here to really uplift what's going on there. And of course, it's another Think It Through Thursday. So that means Curtiss Calhoun is in the building, our resident life coach, here to give us another real lifer tip later on in the show. So I'm excited that I'll be able to dive in with him. But of course, this is also the top of the show. So it's a great great time for you to tag and share the stream. Please tag and share this stream with folks you feel could benefit from a daily dose of dopeness right here on The Day with Trae. If you can't watch us, you can also listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. Y'all will find me there. Huge shout out to all of the supporters, listeners on the podcast, people sharing the stream, tagging people. I'm hearing from people in other cities across the country like, hey, yo, y'all are doing some great work up there in terms of Black community. I was tapping in here from Detroit. I'm telling you, it's been amazing to hear the stories kind of pouring in as people really have been seeing value in what we're doing here on The Day with Trae and at Converge Media in the Black Media Matter studio. So huge shout out to all of you out there for sharing and for helping to spread the great work that we're doing here. But of course, I get to talk to Saghar Amini about some great work that she's also doing right here. Hi, Saghar. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we talk about protests going on in other parts of the world, it really takes folks like you to bring it to our doors to help us understand some of the commonalities here. What are some of the things that are going on? What is this protest all about?
Thank you so much for asking that question and mentioning the fact that we should pay attention to it here at home too, because it's affecting us. Iran's behavior, the Islamic Republic of Iran's behavior is affecting us here at home and is affecting our benefits and our interests, the U.S. interests in the region and across the world as well. What's happening is that after Mahsa Amini was killed in the hands of the morality police, which is now sanctioned by the Biden administration, there was massive protests that started in a demand for freedom of choice for our bodies. And there's also some, the commonalities with what we find here. We just had Roe v. Wade turned over. And so women's rights are being attacked everywhere. They're being taken away all around the world. But what's happening in Iran is that turned on to becoming a revolution and a demand for a complete overturn of the government and overthrow of the government and a new leadership. And so that's been happening. And their problem is not only the covering of women anymore. It's not women's rights anymore, because there's so many other things that have come to light as a result of the mismanagement of the country, right? There's economic problems, there is social problems, and so all of these have come together. And now the difference is that there's young people and older people, and there's high school children, and rich and poor, and from all backgrounds. People are united, women and men are like, we don't want our wives, our sisters, our mothers treated the way you're treating them, right? So the unity that's come together is amazing to see.
This, I mean, I'm getting chills just listening to this, because we have seen a lot of kind of uprisings in the last few years globally, right? Outside of George Floyd, before that, I remember seeing a lot of things happening over in Asia, right? Where just like massive amounts of people were like, you know what, no, this system is not working for us, and it's not working for so many of us, that we now have to come together to rise up against this. But this is really, I think, impactful in terms of Iran's history. Tell us about your personal connection to what's going on right there, and why you take on the role to make sure we know what's going on here and we are connected to that.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I have been active since I moved here. I'm originally from Iran. I grew up there. I was arrested there by the morality police for having my ear out, for having too dark of a lipstick or too dark of a nail polish, or being home around men. So if you were in Iran, because he's there in the background right now, police could just come in and take us all, and I would get, for example, 60 lashes, which is what I was sentenced to back in Iran, and he would get 30 lashes, and he would have his hair shaved by the government. And so these are things that people are just done with. And it is personal to me, because both of my personal background and my experience myself, also because I think that I can do something about it. I have been meeting with our elected officials and to advocate for the work for the voice of the Iranians and to send a message that what they're, demanding. Because when I came here, as you said, there was some protests in the past. In 2019, 2009, I was a teenager. I should just become a teenager. I was out there in the Green Movement protests. And I remember all we were hoping for was that America does something, right? Because it's their interest as well. Iran is a bad actor right now, and we don't need bad actors in the Middle East any more than we already do. So, and then I come here now that I'm active. I see organizations like NIAC, who has a reputation to be the lobbyists of the Islamic regime here at home, here in America, spreading misinformation. For example, saying, Iranian people don't want anything to do with America, leave them alone, let them do their. I'm like, how dare you speak on my behalf? I was, 15 fighting on the streets, hoping Barack Obama would say something, hoping President Obama would do something. And I see and come see these misinformation about the Iranian people that, oh, the hijab is the culture of the Iranians, right? We've seen over the past month or so that that's not true. Everybody's coming out, and it's not about the hijab anymore. Like, people aren't asking Muslim women who believe they should be wearing hijab and they choose to, they shouldn't be taking off their hijab. It's not about Islam. It's not about religion. It's about the fact that you have a choice to make whether or not to wear a headscarf over your head or not, right? So seeing the misinformation that's been spread, as a woman who's immigrated and who's gone through so much, here in America and back home, I just really, it breaks my heart to see organizations like National Iranian American Council um, have the audacity to speak on our behalf. So it's important that we give the voice of the Iranian people and send the message what they're asking for.
Yeah, this is really, really deep too, Sahar. I mean, you're talking about the fact that right here on our shores, we have a bunch of misinformation that's being spread purposefully to really try to wield the ideology of Americans with regard to Iranians, right? And that right there, it's like people like you coming on and say, no, I am from there. My people are saying we no longer want all of this. I'm telling you, there's such a veil that comes over our eyes in terms of what we experience here in America, oftentimes because of things like misinformation and disinformation. And we talked about that throughout the Trump, administration. We saw so much of that just being proliferated through, social media, through mainstream media. People were trying to call it out. This idea of like fake news really, resulting in the insurrection that we experienced in January 6th. I mean, these right here are the topics that need to be discussed people to people so that we can break that ideology that we've been like fed for so many years. So I really appreciate you really, shining a light on that, making sure people understand, that's what these protests are about. There's a lot of folks, you said rich and poor, men and women, which I think some folks had an understanding that, this is, women only, right? Like the men love it the way that it is. But you're saying that's not the case. People are really fed up with this oppressiveness that, really has permeated the culture. I'm sure you as a person grew up there, you experienced it for so long. As a teenager, you finally just got out in the streets and said no more. What do you think people can do here to really be connected to this protest movement there and be connected to what the people really want?
First of all, I want to say thank you for mentioning the misinformation and the power of spreading misinformation and disinformation, right? And imagine how effective that was during the Trump era and how much more effective it can be when, for example, Americans don't understand the nuances of the Iranian culture and know the background and know the people and know what's happening in there, right? Iran is larger than Alaska, 80 million people, and it's not easy to get data from that country. Plus, many people are scared to come out. It doesn't mean they agree with the government, But for example, another journalist from Nyack, like Nagar Mortazavi, just 2 days ago in U Chicago, claimed that this is about Iranian women and this is about the morality police. When we very well know it's not. That's not what people are chanting. So thank you so much for giving the platform and covering this from the beginning to give us the ability to give the true voice of Iranians, right? And not allow that misinformation spread any more than it already has. And we hope that we are able to change that narrative. What can be done is we have protests every weekend. And we have posts, we have call to actions where we ask people to read an email draft that we have and send that to their senators and representatives, because that's where we can make true change, is through legislative work. And so we have emails or phone calls, and bringing Americans together with the Iranian Americans is very effective, because right now what Iran does is they're sending missiles and drones to Russia, and the Pentagon and the White House has confirmed it in their war with Ukraine, right? Or other their militia or people in, Hezbollah or all of that. Iran is funding all of that. And, for these bad actors to be gone is in absolute interest of the United States. And for Americans to come together to call out their senators and to representatives, not to call them out per se, because the Democratic Party, I'm a proud Democrat and I have truly seen their support and I am appreciative of that. I just think there's more we can do. And so calling them and asking them what they're doing and what they're planning to do and how we can help the Iranian people and the world, frankly, to make this a better place to live and some more peace.
Yeah. So that right there is key, because when you can give people an action to take, that right there is what I've seen be some of the most effective ways of engaging people in the civic process. And when you already know, okay, like here are some of the folks that we really need y'all to reach out to. Here are, some of the things that we've been able to do or see some movement at least, or some solidarity at least kind of take place. Those kind of things are really beneficial to get people to understand it's not just on them, that they're now a part of a larger collective of folks that are saying no more and that are pushing back. So I want you to be able to look right there in that camera, let folks know how to connect with you, how they actually provide their energy toward this movement.
Absolutely. I just want to give a disclaimer before I do that. We condemn any kind of aggression, whether in words and action, towards any journalist, because as a woman, I feel attacked by these journalists as well, right? Calling out and speaking on our behalf. But we also see organizations that are having events. For example, we were going to have Reza Aslan in here today or tomorrow, I believe, but it was canceled because many people asked that he not be interviewed here in Seattle because he's tied to the Nyack organization. But what I saw on the post to announce his cancellation was that we received threats of whatever, right, of disruption. This is not what we are. That's changing the narrative again, right? We don't know who called to do that, but the message we sent was that we don't want this person given a platform. So it's important to call out the people that are misinterpreting the situation as well, and accurately say we have people from the Iranian American community, from the American community, that opposed his presence here. And as a result, we will respect their decision, not just, that Iranian terrorist threats, bombs, things that, they're so quick to come to that conclusion and to label people. And we just don't appreciate it because that's not what we called for. But if you would like to join us, it's I usually share a lot of information on my Instagram, which is Let's Talk Politics _ before and after. I think they're gonna have it on the screen for you as well. And my our Facebook, Iranian Americans United, I share a lot of other accounts and information that are providing that accurate information, so you're not fed with more misinformation that some people that already have shared. So go ahead and follow me on my Instagram on Let's Talk Politics. And from there, I will share photos and accounts from other people. So a call to action, anything that you might have. I usually have them on the stories, like one or two. So we'd love to have you join us and be a stronger voice for the Iranians demanding freedom.
Saghar, thank you for your work, and thank you for being here, bringing this to the Day with Trae and to our audience. I think when we talk about, these kind of movements, there's a lot of folks that fight systemic oppression, and you are definitely one of them. So thank you so much for being a real example of, what it means to really take, these issues to heart and take it all the way to bring people in so that we can have a more collective voice around this. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you having me on. Truly, it's important to give a platform to the activists and to people that are involved to relay the true message of what Iranians demand and what they want. So I appreciate you for covering the story from day one since it started. You guys have been very supportive. And our community has been very supportive. The non-Iranian American community has been really supportive, and it has created an impact, and it is helping us. So please continue to do so. And we appreciate all the help and support you're giving our community.
Oh, wow. Keep it up, Saghar. Great
Thank
work.
you.
Oh, my goodness, you guys. Right after this, what an amazing discussion there with Saghar. Please make sure you guys are following her page, checking in on how you can be engaged and be involved. It's another opportunity to see yourself as a part of the solution, of course. But coming up next, we got Mr. Curtiss Calhoun in the building, our resident life coach, giving us another real lifer tip that we can use for our lives today. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this, y'all. You're watching The Day with Trae.
COVID-19 hurt my income, my health, and my family. We were about to lose our home when we heard we might be eligible for homeowner assistance funds from the government. We called 1-877-894-HOME, and a housing counselor stepped in, talked to our lender, and saved our home. Federal funding details at washingtonhalf.org. That's washingtonhaf.org.
Community, it's been 3 years since we've been able to celebrate in person at our annual Evening of Choice. And this year at Access in Pioneer Square on October 19th at 6 p.m., we will be back together again, celebrating our journey, healing towards justice. This past couple of years have been incredibly difficult for our young people and our community at large. And one thing that has become clear and absolutely true is there's one way forward that brings all of us together, and that's as we heal. And when our young people heal, they're truly able to become who it is they've been purposed to be. So on this evening, you'll hear stories of our young people, hear the evolution of our organization as we emphasize healing in our cause. And together we will celebrate another year of impact and growth as we journey towards justice together. Again, it's at Access in Pioneer Square, 6 p.m. on October 19th, and live streaming will be available through YouTube at I Choose 180.
Get ready, everyone. October 24th and 25th, Conversion Media is heading right back to the Paramount Theater. Join me, Besa Gordon, Eric Calligraphy, Trae Holiday, and the entire Conversion Media family as we once again broadcast live with conversations on art, culture, mental health, community issues, and more. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment. Head over to whereweconverge.com for more information, and we will see you October 24th and 25th, streaming live across all Converge Media platforms.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Day with Trae. That's right. Let's not forget, we're going to be at the Paramount Theater on the 24th and 25th. Excited to be back at the Paramount. We're going to be having live shows going on for The Day with Trae and the Rewind with Besa. You guys want to make sure you guys check it out on our website at Where We Converge, www.whereweconverge.com/Paramount. And make sure you guys go there to get your tickets. I think we still have a few left for the live audience for y'all to join us there. So make sure y'all are doing that. And of course, I can't forget about SABJ. They're going to be in the building on Saturday with another segment for Black Voices Matter. This is a great opportunity for you to get a $12 ticket for this amazing event as King Five's Joyce Taylor speaks to Essex Porter, giving his gems in his 43 years of journalistic career. So please make sure you guys tap in, get your tickets for that at sabjonline, you guys .org. You guys want to make sure you guys get those $12 tickets because a portion of those proceeds are going to their general fund, which a portion of that is actually going into scholarships for young journalists. So make sure y'all are not just tuning in for some amazing content, but also giving to a great opportunity for young folks to continue their career in journalism. But of course, right now I have the opportunity to sit down with Mr. Curtiss Calhoun. What's up, Curtiss? How are you, brother?
Peace, Trae. Welcome back. It's been a minute.
I know. I felt like, oh my gosh, has it been over a month or something? I hadn't seen you in a while. It's crazy.
It's been like 2 months since you've done the show.
That's crazy. Yeah. Well, how are you, man? It's great to be back with you.
I'm doing good, and I hope you're doing good. You look like you're doing wonderful. Like that time off really did a good job for you.
You know, it was a lot of work. I got to tell you. I mean, even though it was my vacation, I was so grateful for the opportunity to expand on, my skill set, right? And like kind of learn in space. So, shout out to Black Stacks for giving me that opportunity to, tour with them. It was amazing, but a lot of work. It was real. So that's what I was doing. That's what I was out there doing.
You're going to have to tell me about that.
Yeah. We'll have to make sure we do a recap. Let's go back a little bit here because you've been sharing several tips and now it feels like we are more than halfway through these tips, right? And so let's just get a little bit of an overview of where we are today.
Yeah, so this brings us to 2/3 of the way through today.
Wow.
So we'll be at number 8 today. There's 12 total. It starts off with real lifers give 110% at everything they do. Real lifers are 110% responsible for everything that happens in their life, especially what they think, feel, say, and do. Real lifers make their word bond and keep it impeccable. Real lifers pursue personal growth and development daily. Real lifers set an intention for the day every day. Real lifers are growth mindset oriented. And then number 7, the one before right now, is real lifers are realistically positive and optimistic, but are able to see all aspects of a situation.
Wow, that's the one I missed right there.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Deontay was here for that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. And he hit me up. He's like, man, you be having some hitters on this show. I'm like, I know, because I know, Mr. Calhoun's going to bring it every time. So that gets us up to
Who's
real
Mr.
life.
Calhoun? What you talking about over there?
I said that to him. I said that to him. Okay. You know what I mean? I was paying reference. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, look, at the end of the day, every time you're on, all of these tips are things that people may have thought of already, but maybe they're just not really implementing them in their lives. Yeah. What are we on today for tip number 8?
So today, number 8 is real lifers acknowledge who they are right now with ambitions to improve. Now, it sounds simple, but it's a tough one. And it's a critical one because it involves kind of 2 parts, right? You got to first accept where you are right now, because if you don't accept where you are, you can't come up with a solution to the problem. A lot of the times we're in denial or we're in resistance to what's going on. So then we don't adequately think through a process or come up with a plan or a strategy to address what's actually going on. And then the second part with ambitions to improve. So knowing that I'm in this situation, I'm not stuck here. There's always an option. There's always ways out. There's always things I can do to deal with what I'm going through right now.
Yeah, no, this right here is real. I think sometimes the hardest part is the acknowledgement piece because, to a certain degree, I think we see ourselves as, the best version of ourselves all the time. And that doesn't mean that's where we're at. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's that hard realization of like, I think about this for myself all the time. There's specific things I need to do to improve. And I know it. And every time I violate it, I go, there I go again. You know what I mean? And for some odd reason, there are things that you say to yourself that give you comfortability with that violation when it's just really an outright violation, right? And it doesn't allow you to really be your best self every single day. No. So, walk us through some of these points because there's things people got to do to get there, right? See?
Absolutely. So I brought my healthy cheat sheet here with me. The first 8.1 is know who you are today is not who you have to be tomorrow. Right. So, and I think it goes back to that acceptance piece. It's important because until we accept who we are and we're comfortable with that, we can't be our authentic self or be genuine. But it's knowing that we don't have to be perfect. I think I just put up a post last week and it's saying giving 100% doesn't mean giving 100% or giving your all doesn't mean giving 100%. It means giving all you can in the moment. You may only have 35% to give, but give the whole 35. It doesn't mean I'm going to be perfect. Doesn't mean it's going to come out perfect, but I'm here. I'm going to show up and I'm going to give you all I can right now.
Yeah, that's really key. So much of this is about giving grace to ourselves too.
Yes.
Because in those times, like, yes, we are constantly improving. Really, if we're really like on a pathway of growth and progression, there's going to always be this level of me that like, okay, I'm doing well, but I'm always looking to how I can do better. But I think, somebody shared with me, you also gotta, celebrate your successes now too. And so that's a part of that acknowledgement. That's a great one. What's the next point, C?
All right. Next one is 8.2. Never be satisfied with your current reality. Always be working towards your ideal, better, or real self. So this is what you just mentioned, right? So we are here. We accept that fact, but we know this is where we want to be. So there's work that needs to be done to get from here to there. And I'm always doing the work and making sure that I'm progressing to where I want to be and not being stuck or getting too comfortable where I'm at. And I won't say when I was less successful, but, at a time when you kind of at the bottom trying to really struggle and make your way up to the top, it's easy because every day you wake up hungry. It's like a boxer, right? The lion or the tiger coming up the mountain's always hungrier than the tiger on top of the mountain.
Yeah, true.
Right? So when you get that kind of to that place of comfortability, it becomes more difficult. Be like, I got to stretch and get out of my comfort zone or, do what's necessary to get to the next level, but it feels good here. Right. I don't want to have to, the body and the mind play tricks on you and say, I don't want to go to that place where I get uncomfortable, which causes me to stretch and grow.
Yeah, no, that plateauism is real, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you hit a plateau. I think about it for working out. You're like, all right, man, I done lost like 20 pounds. I'm good. Like, all right, but you hit a plateau. And at some point, there's also this layer of, I think, not just comfortability, but this layer of like, you know what? This is what works. This level right here is what works, right? Yeah. And so when you get to that point where you're like, I gotta push more at this point. I gotta kind of get over that hump. You're absolutely right. It's the plateauing, man, that can get us there.
I'll give you a real life example yesterday, right? So I know in a couple of weeks, we're going to be coming up on eating healthy and eating the right thing. So I had to lose some weight because I was kind of the stomach. I was looking at some of the pictures, stomach sticking out. So I've lost about 20 pounds. I'm bound to the lowest I've been in about 5 years. But guess what I did last night? Hey, like 3 candy bars.
Yeah, see?
I said, I'm good. Like you said, I'm good. I know what I'm doing now. I can go ahead and splurge a little bit. 3 knocked out 3. I shouldn't have done it.
Right. See, that's what it is right there. See, I'm telling you. And, I was like, you know what? I've changed a lot of my eating habits. I'm good on certain things. Okay, I can kind of go here. I can kind of go there. I understand it completely, man. What's 8.3? Where we at?
8.3 is create environments that produce situations to optimize your growth and success, right? So, and a lot of us, again, we get to that place where we don't like being uncomfortable. And that's one of the things that I share all the time is get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where the growth takes place. And that's what helps you get to the next level. So we get to that place where we don't want to do that and it hurts us. So we don't put ourselves in situations where there's opportunities for growth because we're trying to avoid that uncomfortableness. I was told a long time ago, always say yes. When you're asked to do something, say yes. Even whether you know how to do it or not, whether you have the skills, ability, the resources to do it, say yes, because you'll figure it out between then and the time you have to do it. But if you don't, you miss out on the opportunity to stretch yourself and grow and become the better person. And that's the whole thing of real lifer, is to become your best self. And that's the North Star, the thing that's always driving us every day.
My real life example of that is literally going on tour with Black Sax, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, you know what? We've seen you. You're great. You're a great organizer. I'm like, I am, but I've never done road management before, right? Like I don't know the transit systems in Europe. There was so much learning on the ground that I had to do. And I just want to give a whole shout out to their entire team for, working with me through that, because there was times where I'm like, wait a minute, what? We got to go to what platform? What train? What, man, we're going the wrong way. Oh, wait, we can get on any train. Like there was so much learning in that time frame. But I literally said to them, man, this this is an opportunity for me to excel.
Yes.
And it came I said yes before I think my dad even passed. I'm like, you know what? But all the logistics weren't quite there. So then after dad passed, I'm like, are you sure? I was like, man, my dad would want, he would roll over right now in his grave if I did not take this opportunity to expand. Right.
He gonna come see
and so you're so right about that. You have to be willing to kind of step out on uncharted waters in order for you to even figure out how you can chart those waters and take those lessons back. So I agree with that 100%. I mean, see, when we talk about, all of these.
Before we go on, I have a question for you.
Please.
Now the coach is coming out of me, right?
Please.
So how do you feel coming back now, though?
Oh, yeah. No,
what does it feel like now?
Yeah, no.
Right?
Like now I'm like, oh, I could do that. Right. Like now
confident.
I have, because I have the experience, like you said, of doing it and being like, all right, I had to do it. I had to learn in the moment. Now, if somebody was to ask me to do it again, I'm like, you know what? I know X, Y, Z, especially if we're in this region. Okay. And if we're not, now I know how to research even better to be prepared for a new region. Right. So there's so much that I was able to take away from that.
And you said it twice. Learning in the moment. See, we're used to school and being there at the desk, having time to figure out the problem, or at our desk doing homework. But life happens in the moment. And a lot of our learning happens in the moment. And you have to be able to figure it out quickly. But if you don't already have a program instilled to be able to help you have a process to go through that, it makes it difficult.
Yeah. And it went back. So much of it went back to like spiritual practices for me, because it was like, in the midst of chaos, we're there and the train workers go on strike. We're like, what? I mean, total, some of these scenarios, I couldn't even make it up. Right. But it's like in the midst of all of that, my peace was like holding me down. And that was like, oh, I'm going to build off of lessons that I'm already doing, right? To allow me to really be adaptable in these situations. So, I mean, again, it goes back to your real lifer tips. See, like this one right here is really a great one, because we do have to acknowledge where we are, but that also helps us understand opportunities we have to grow, right? If we're really being real about that for ourselves. So I always a gem. Man, you're always dropping the gems here. See, make sure the folks know right there how they can catch up with you.
All right. Appreciate it. Well, you can catch up with me at CurtissCalhoun.com. And then on all the social media platforms and LinkedIn is Curtiss R. Calhoun. Reach out, hit me up. I'll definitely respond.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great one. We appreciate you and all the work you're doing.
Thank you, Trae. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. You guys, what a great show. Stay tuned just real quick. I know we're over time, but stay tuned. After this short break, I do have an update I want to make sure folks hear about right after this short break. You're watching The Day with Trae.
COVID-19 hurt my income, my health, and my family. We were about to lose our home when we heard we might be eligible for homeowner assistance funds from the government. We called 1-877-894-HOME, and a housing counselor stepped in, talked to our lender, and saved our home. Federal funding details at washingtonhaf.org. That's washingtonhaf.org.
Community, it's been 3 years since we've been able to celebrate in person at our annual Evening of Choice. And this year at Access in Pioneer Square on October 19th at 6 p.m., we will be back together again, celebrating our journey, healing towards justice. This past couple of years have been incredibly difficult for our young people and our community at large. And one thing that has become clear and absolutely true is there's one way forward that brings all of us together, and that's as we heal. And when our young people heal, they're truly able to become who it is they've been purposed to be. So on this evening, you'll hear stories of our young people, hear the evolution of our organization as we emphasize healing in our cause. And together we will celebrate another year of impact and growth as we journey towards justice together. Again, it's at Access in Pioneer Square, 6 p.m. on October 19th, and live streaming will be available through YouTube at I Choose 180.
Get ready, everyone. October 24th and 25th, Conversion Media is heading right back to the Paramount Theater. Join me, Besa Gordon, Eric Calligraphy, Trae Holiday, and the entire Conversion Media family as we once again broadcast live with conversations on art, culture, mental health, community issues, and more. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment. Head over to whereweconverge.com for more information, and we will see you October 24th and 25th, streaming live across all Converge Media platforms.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to thank you guys for watching. And, of course, send a huge shout out to my guest today, Saghar Amini. She is doing the work on the ground to make sure that we are informed about what's going on there in Iran. And she's absolutely right. It always has rippling effects for us here on American soil. So it's not like, oh, that's not our problem. No, it is. And ultimately, when we see that, people are freed to live as they choose to live, is always better than people living in oppressive systems and oppressive states. So I'm just so grateful that she was able to bring her brilliance here to the show today. Make sure you guys reach out to her. Let's Talk Politics _ on the back end and front end there on Instagram. Check her out and get connected to the take action items that she has so you can be a part of the solution. Of course, I want y'all to be inspired. And of course, Big C in the building, man. Huge shout out to Curtiss Calhoun, our resident life coach, for being here for Think It Through Thursday. He's always dropping the gems for us to think it through. Make sure you guys check him out. Go to his social media platforms. Get connected to him as a life coach, because clearly he's giving us gems here, but he does so much more for his clientele to really help you through these processes and understanding how to be accountable to all of these real lifer tips. A huge shout out to them both for being here today. And I want to give another shout out to Reverend Harriet Walden, always so on top of it in the community. Today, they are going to be holding space at the Liberty Bank Building Community Room for anybody who wants to just be in community. As we keep dealing with gun violence rising in our community, it's important that we find ways to heal together. It's important that we find opportunities to connect and discuss where we're feeling, how all of this affects us, right? Like, I heard about, Devon yesterday through my family chat, through my spiritual group chat, another text message coming through, me and Omari texting back and forth. There's always a ripple effect when we lose someone in our community, and someone like Devon, who had such a huge platform and a real pillar, again, with the Postman, creating jobs, all of the things that he was doing as a coach on the CD Panthers. He just gave so much of himself to community. And I send a huge shout out to Kiana, to the entire family, to everyone who knew him. This is a huge loss for us in community. And I just really appreciate that Reverend Walden and others will be holding space right there at the Liberty Bank Building from 12:30 today until 4 p.m. If you guys need to get connected, get a hug, be around some other folks, come be masked up, be safe, but use your hand sanitizer and all of that, because COVID is still real. But I just love that they are just saying, look, we are just going to have the space open, no major agenda, just holding space for those who want to be in community. Make sure you guys go there, check out, how others are dealing with this. Oftentimes there is so much power in us healing together and getting through losses like this together. So thank you so much, Reverend Walden, for, making sure I knew that was going on today so I could share it with all of you. And of course, you guys know my thing is to see yourself as a part of the solution. Devon made sure he did that in a multitude of ways. And that's why I'm always here to uplift the fact that it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're doing something to move progress forward, to be impactful in your community, to be engaged in the civic process, to make sure that others around you are informed and engaged, like those are the things that really help you to be a part of the solution. So, be inspired, you all, be inspired by the life of folks like Devon, be inspired by Saghar Amini, who was here today, be inspired by Curtiss Calhoun, for you all to see yourself as a part of the solution. And for me, until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.